America today stands face to face with a reality where people are working harder than ever, but the results of that hard work seem to be slipping away. From a cup of coffee to a rented apartment, the price of everything has gone up so much that even as salaries increase, people's lives are becoming harder. Since 2020, the prices of essential goods have risen by more than 25% on average, and in most states, rental rates are now at the highest point in history. The situation is such that even those earning six-figure salaries are struggling to make ends meet at the end of the month. 61% of Americans now say that if a sudden $500 emergency expense arises, they would need to borrow money to handle it. Credit card debt has now reached a record $1.3 trillion, and the average interest rate is close to 24%. At this moment, millions of people are being drained just by paying interest. This is not a minor economic issue. It's a point of social breakdown. People are selling their homes, debts are rising, and many are silently sinking beneath this current. If you've ever thought, "I'm doing everything right, so why is nothing working out?" then know this: you're not wrong, because the real problem isn't you. The entire system is working against you. Now we'll see how this collapse is happening, and why so many ordinary people who were once stable are now losing themselves in the struggle of life.
88,000 homes across America have been foreclosed. That means, on average, 1 in every 1,500 homes is being lost. Compared to last year, that's nearly a 13% increase. And the most painful part is, these people weren't living extravagant lives. They had jobs, paid their bills regularly, and believed their homes would symbolize their dreams. But suddenly, insurance premiums rose. Property taxes in some states jumped up to 30% in one leap, and a new trap of escrow shortages fell upon them. In Florida, insurance costs have tripled in the last 4 years. A monthly payment that used to be $1,800 has now reached $3,200. Not for a new house, not for luxury, but simply because of the system's inefficiency and greed. Those who are renting now aren't in a better position either. The average rent across the country is now $2,100, but wages are only rising by 3 to 4%. As a result, people can't stay in one place. Communities are breaking apart, and relationships are weakening. People are losing their homes. Along with them, they're losing security, dignity, and self-respect. Many are hiding their real situation because saying "I'm struggling" has become a matter of shame. In today's America, the middle class is slowly sinking, as if an invisible weight is dragging them down, from which escaping is nearly impossible. This isn't just a housing crisis, it's a betrayal of an entire generation. The American dream now survives only on life support. And the cost of that support? $400 an hour. Health insurance is the new mortgage. Once a person falls ill, they're not only physically broken, they're financially shattered too. Today, a family's annual health insurance cost exceeds $24,000. This doesn't include co-pays, deductibles, or medicine costs. And hospital bills don't even start. A simple ibuprofen can be billed at $8. Those with employer-based insurance still have to pay $6,000 to $6,500 out of pocket each year. In return, they get long waiting times, limited services, and one phone call after another. Pain after pain in the name of authorization. If you're uninsured, the situation is even worse. A single emergency room visit can wipe out your month's rent, car payment, and food money, all in one night. Right now, 62% of personal bankruptcies in the U.S. are due to medical debt. And the shocking part is, many of those people had insurance.
Not buying prescribed medicines and avoiding dental treatments, not because they don't want to, but because they simply can't afford to. And this isn't just an issue for the elderly. The younger generation is sinking into it too. 1 in 5 young adults under 35 now has medical debt in collections, and many of them haven't even faced their first major health crisis yet. This is the silent killer of the American economy. We're not just breaking people's bank accounts, we're breaking their faith in the system itself. Think about it. You work full-time, you finished college, you follow all the rules, and yet survival has become a luxury. Now, people aren't just giving up on health insurance, they're giving up on the hope of health care. And when that happens, it's not just a personal tragedy. It's the beginning of a societal collapse. Food is becoming a luxury, not a right. Let's talk about food. I'm not talking about expensive organic kale or oat milk. I'm talking about the basics: bread, eggs, meat, milk. Once, you could buy those for $20 and still have some change left. But in 2025, a family now spends $1,000 to $1,200 a month just on groceries. And that's if they shop very carefully. Egg prices have risen by 52%. Beef has become so expensive that even having regular ground beef feels like a celebration. A frozen pizza now costs $9, and a good loaf of sandwich bread is $4.75. And the scariest part? Over 32 million Americans are now living in food insecurity, meaning they don't know if they'll be able to eat tomorrow. These aren't lazy people. They're teachers, bus drivers, warehouse workers, delivery drivers, people who are working yet can't afford to eat. Many parents are feeding their children while skipping meals themselves. Shoplifting in big stores has gone up, but this isn't organized crime. It's parents stealing baby formula, deodorant, even Tylenol, because inflation has cornered them. Imagine, in the richest country on earth, a black market has formed for peanut butter and instant ramen. Now the USDA says that due to climate change and global crop shortages, food prices will rise even higher during the winter. Slowly, Americans are rationing food, clipping expired coupons, or simply going without eating. And the most heartbreaking thing is, when food becomes inaccessible, people don't just lose nutrition, they lose dignity. They stop inviting others, stop celebrating. Their lives shrink into nothing but the struggle to survive. This isn't just hunger, it's destruction, one empty refrigerator at a time. Mental health is collapsing now, but no one can afford to fix it. If your mind feels broken, heavy, or exhausted, you're not alone. And no, this isn't drama. America is now going through the worst mental health crisis in its history. And the statistics are terrifying. 1 in 3 adults now shows symptoms of anxiety or depression. Among Gen Z, that number is even higher. 60% of college students now say they constantly feel sadness, loneliness, or hopelessness. Yet mental health is still treated as a luxury. Therapy? Try it if you can. Each session costs between $100 and $250. And insurance companies have so many restrictions that many people give up before their first appointment. The price of psychiatric medications has gone up 30% in the last 5 years. Many generic drugs are either unavailable or absurdly priced. Then there's the terrifying waiting list. In some states, it takes 3 to 6 months to get a therapy appointment. By then, the crisis often gets worse. Since 2007, youth suicide rates have risen by 57%, and hospitalizations for self-harm are increasing at an alarming rate. We're now witnessing a generation breaking down emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They want help, but the system is built in such a way that help is only available if you're rich or lucky. So they self-medicate, numb themselves, and disconnect from the world. Eventually, they give up, not because they're weak, but because taking care of yourself has become a luxury in America. And this reality might be the most terrifying illness of all. Because when people lose hope, they stop fighting altogether.
Than ever, but getting less than ever before. They work from morning till night, yet it feels like someone is quietly stealing their time. Because, to tell the truth, today's jobs don't save you, they trap you. Many are working 2 jobs a day, some even 3. But at the end of the month, they're left with only $40 in their bank account. One emergency bill, one car repair, or one medical expense, and everything collapses. In 2025, the average American worker is working 44 hours a week, yet their real purchasing power is lower than it was in 2007. That means work has increased, income has increased on paper, but the money itself is now worth less than before. The way inflation is chasing them, it's as if someone is silently stealing $1 from their pocket every single day, and they don't even notice. This is now being called the Great Exhaustion, a society where people are tired, mentally empty, yet unable to stop because stopping means falling behind. Did you know, in 2024, the rate of home ownership loss in America was the highest in the past decade? Many were forced to sell their homes because their variable interest rates suddenly hit 7%. People are now downsizing, in other words, moving to smaller houses. But in reality, they're not just moving into smaller homes, they're moving into smaller lives. People who once spent weekends with their families now spend their time calculating expenses in Excel sheets. Children who once played in parks now watch the worry on their parents' faces through tablets. And the middle class? It's becoming a memory, like a photograph slowly fading with time. In this collapse, the most silent erosion is happening within relationships. Marriages are breaking under financial pressure. Friendships are fading because of lack of time, and people now talk less with each other, more with screens. You might have noticed, in coffee shops, people no longer look into each other's eyes, they stare at their laptops, because everyone is trying to survive in their own tiny world. This is now being called the saddest image of modern America. Everyone is busy, but no one is truly living. Meanwhile, big corporations are making record profits. They're laying off workers while giving bonuses to shareholders. A CEO earns in 1 year what an ordinary worker would take 700 years to make. This is no longer capitalism, it's controlism. A system where every minute, every drop of your sweat turns into their wealth, and you're left with only mental exhaustion and mountains of debt. Yet, people still hold on to hope, because they think maybe this year will be better. But the reality is, they're playing a game where the board is always set up in someone else's favor. Now, 70% of young Americans say they believe their generation is worse off than the previous one. They get jobs, but are buried in debt. They want to buy homes, but don't have enough for a down payment. They want to have children, but are too afraid because they know, in this system, to build one life, you have to lose another. This is the truth now. People are no longer working for money, they're working just to survive. Kind of invisible decline. From the outside, everything may look fine. Shops are open, people are going to work, cars are running. But deep inside, something is breaking down. People are more anxious than before, more exhausted. And the most frightening thing is, they are becoming disconnected. Once, families were each other's support. Now they have become sources of stress. Children see only worry on their parents' faces, and the elderly are becoming lonely as their children move away for jobs. And in the meantime, technology is making us even lonelier. We are connected online all day long, but in reality, no one is truly connected to anyone anymore. You might talk to hundreds of people on social media, but when you go to bed at night, it feels like no one really understands you, No one is truly there for you. This is the deepest crisis of modern America. We are losing our human connection, the very bond that once made us strong. Those who are still compassionate, kind, or willing to help, they are becoming rare, because the system has shaped people to think only about their own survival. People are suffering now, but they are hiding it. They smile, they post, they say, "I'm fine," but inside, they are screaming. This pressure, this fear, this loneliness, together they have created an invisible war, one that every ordinary person is fighting within themselves every single day. But this story doesn't end here, because history has proven when people stand together, when they start to see the truth, change becomes inevitable. Maybe this collapse was necessary so that Americans could realize once again that no society can survive on money alone. Without humanity, compassion, and justice, no civilization can last long. If you feel hopeless, tired, or think it's all over, remember, millions of others feel the same way. You are not alone. This system may try to break you, but people have always been stronger than any system. Look around you. You might see someone who is fighting just like you, but still hasn't given up. That is hope. That is humanity. That is the beginning of our next chapter.